Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where there's more to talk about than shooting. There's reloading and hunting and self-defense, too.
All right, back with you. Tom Gresham here. Number is 866-TALK-GUN. We're just talking about guns and ammo and scopes and, well, everything that has to do with guns and shooting. Even gun safes, how to store guns safely, and how to introduce people to the shooting sports. Are you a good shooting instructor? Do you do that much? Do you invite people to the range? You know, you don't have to be great. You just have to be willing and safe and understanding and want to help people. It's pretty cool, actually. It's tons of fun. If you're not doing it, you might want to consider it. If you're doing it now, maybe you want to do a little bit more of it. By the way, give me a call if you are a person that likes to take people out to the range, introduce them to shooting. I'd love to get range reports about how that has worked for you. How do people react when you take them out to the range? And it could be youngsters, it could be, adults. When they go shooting for the first time, what kind of reactions have you seen? The number here is 866-TALK-GUN. Let's see, line 3, Ted's with us out of Richmond, Virginia. Hey, Ted, you're on Gun Talk.
Hi, Tom. Hey,
yes,
quick question for you. I have a small caliber handgun. I believe it's a 32, and I use it at home. And I want to know, what's the best gun for me for home protection? Is that adequate, or should I be using something else?
It's not adequate. It's just going to be the short version of it. You should use something else. It's the 32 is a pretty lousy caliber all the way around. Remember, and here's the thing. There are going to be people you talk to who say, oh, yeah, well, you can kill somebody with 32. That's not the goal. You have to remember what the goal here is. The goal is to stop someone who's trying to cut off your head. Figuratively or literally. Somebody who wants to do you harm, and you have to make them stop doing it in the next nanosecond. You want to hit them hard with something. A 32 could cause death, but it might be next week. That's not the goal.
Okay.
What's your background in guns?
I've shot rifle, shotgun before, handguns before, but not that often.
Okay. My first instinct, if you're really serious about a home defense gun, is to consider getting you into a shotgun.
Okay.
Shotguns are easy to operate. They are enormously effective. The one thing I would caution you about, two things really I'm going to tell you. If you decide to go that way, you want a short shotgun, one that's made for home defense. Understand that it is a myth that you do not have to aim with a shotgun. It actually shoots a very small pattern. It'll be roughly the size of your fists, and you need to aim carefully if you're shooting a shotgun at self-defense distances. The other thing, and this is really important no matter which gun you get, shotgun, rifle, or handgun, you really, seriously, no kidding, need to go take a serious class in self-defense use of that particular type of gun. You will learn 100 things that you say, I didn't even know to ask this question. I didn't even know that this was a thing. It's like, okay, let me ask you a question. If you had a shotgun and you were moving through your house, would you carry it with the muzzle up or the muzzle down? And why?
I would probably carry it with the muzzle up.
Okay. That's a wrong answer. And see,
okay.
Everybody says muzzle up. And I'm going to explain to you why, and this is going to point out why those things where I say questions that you never thought about. If you turn the corner with the muzzle up and there's a guy on the other side and he can grab the barrel, you cannot push the barrel down against him holding the barrel and shoot him. He's got control of your gun.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
If you have the muzzle down, think about this. If you have the muzzle down and he grabs the barrel, you drop down to a knee and shoot him in the kneecap. Game changer. That's the kind of stuff that a good instructor knows and will impart to you where you're thinking, I didn't even think about that. It's amazing how many things there are like that. And besides the fact that you'll just enjoy the class. So I would tend to lean toward a shotgun for you with a good class, or whatever it is, a good class, but the 32 is not enough, and you need to really, whatever it is, you need to have shot it hundreds, literally hundreds of times before you are adequately competent and be ready for what you need to do.
Okay, great. Hey, thanks for the info.
All right, thanks, Ed. I appreciate that. Hey, let's take a quick break. David, don't go anywhere. We're going to see you in Oklahoma. We have room for other calls if you'd like to join us. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Now at LibertySafe.com, you can buy a Liberty Safe at a great price and receive 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR, with some safes as low as $20 a month on approved credit. Peace of mind, lifetime warranty, and in-home delivery service. Go to LibertySafe.com now for 12 months interest-free payments with 0 down and 0% APR. LibertySafe.com.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Back with Tom Gresham here. This show is called Gun Talk because we talk about guns, but we also talk about, everything else. Shooting, sporting clays, competition, hunting, self-defense, concealed carry. Concealed carry being everything from in your car, in your purse, on your person. And self-defense is anywhere, anytime, taking care of yourself and your family. By the way, we are giving away stuff as we love to do around here. If you go to guntalk.com/win, we have a brand new giveaway going on. And we were talking, actually it's weird, we were talking earlier, had a call asking about the Security 9 from Ruger. That's one of the guns they were giving away. The Ruger PC carbine, the EC9S, the Security 9, and the Ruger Precision Rimfire rifle are all up for grabs here. If you go to guntalk.com/win, you enter, you'll be signing up for the Gun Talk newsletter. That's our weekly email newsletter where we have all sorts of news and product news, all kind of cool stuff going on. So it's a simple deal. Guntalk.com/win will get you there. Let's see here. Line 2. David's with us out of Oklahoma. Hey, David, Versa 380. What do you think?
Yes. Well, I heard him, and you recommended to get extra magazines, and I agree with you. But Versa has an internal safety that will prevent that fire from will prevent the pistol from cocking or decocking or firing if there's no magazine in the receiver. And I bought a Versa, and I bought a spare magazine, and when I got out of the store, I tried both magazines, and one of them would not work in that pistol.
Interesting. Did you take it back?
Yes, I did.
Did they get you one that worked?
Yes, they did.
Okay. So if you have a Bersa 380 and you get extra magazines, the first thing you want to do is check all the magazines and make sure that they work, and check all of them. Make sure it will dry fire, that the action will work, that the decocker will work, everything works on it, right?
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's a good heads up, David. I did not know that, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, you take care. Charlie's on line 1 out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Charlie, you're on.
Yes. Yes, sir. Just quick question. Never fired a handgun in my life. Moving to an area where everybody has told me, no, you need to have a handgun. What type of gun do I get, and what classes do I take?
Sure. Are you moving to an area of Little Rock?
Well, it's not in Little Rock. It's in Arkansas.
Okay.
But it's in Arkansas. It's not in Little Rock.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough. I would say what you need to do. What's your shooting experience? Have you shot guns before?
Yeah, sure. Shotgun, hunting, things like that.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Yeah.
All right. What I'm going to suggest you do, rather than buy a gun, is find a place that has a good self-defense class, not a concealed carry class, but a real like a 1 or 2 day class, and see if they can rent you a gun for the class. Go through the class. At the end of it, you'll have a much better idea of what works, what doesn't, what kind of gun you want. And then you can make your own choice. Probably, and honestly, I'm just going to narrow it down, probably a 940 or a 45 semi-automatic pistol. And it can be, there are a lot of different variations. But after you have been shooting a little while and taken a class, you will be in a much better position to know what you're looking for, okay?
Excellent. So the follow-up question is, how do I find a good class, good handgun class?
Check with local gun stores and just ask them if they have shooting ranges. They're going to know who has classes. But just poke around, and even an internet Google search or DuckDuckGo, if you like that search engine.
Sure.
And look for gunfighting classes or self-defense classes, and they'll pop up for you.
Perfect. Man, that's been super helpful.
All right. Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate it. Wish you luck. We're talking about some of the cool stuff that we do with guns, and we're weird right now. And speaking of folks who are weird about guns, let me bring in our friend, Ryan Repp from Brownells. Hey, Ryan, how you doing, man?
Hey, Tom. I'm well. How are you, sir?
Excellent. Now, here's the thing. We make a big deal about having modern rifles. We've got the modern sporting rifle, the AR-15, and we fix it up, and we keep improving it, we make it great. And then what happens? You guys decide, well, that's really cool. We got a modern rifle. Let's make it an old modern rifle. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, Tom. Well, we're out with our retro line. Of course, we've been out with it for a little while now with the 5.56 models. But to your point, our exciting news is that we're out with the 308, the BRN-10, and it's really been very, very popular, and it's modeled after Eugene Stoner's original design.
So we take what we're calling the modern rifle, and then you go retro on it. Could you make it look like the original? For those who don't know, Eugene Stoner was a designer of the AR-10, AR-15 platform, the M16, if you will, way back. But they didn't look like the guns that we have now. They look like they're the carry handle, if you will, Vietnam would be the image for most people, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and actually the BRN-10 even predates Vietnam just a little bit. So, still focused in a little bit. To your point, Stoner designed what we know. A lot of people think Stoner specifically designed the AR-15. Stoner designed what was basically the equivalent of the AR-10, the 308 model back in the day. And James Sullivan then pared that down into the AR-15. And so ours even predates, and that model predates Vietnam a little bit, even back into the late 1950s. In mid-1950s is what the BRN-10 is, the 308 model.
Well, that's just absolutely cool. So, I mean, you guys are not making this. You're having it made for you. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's kind of in the spirit of Brownells, obviously, we're kind of the place where everybody goes and, or even on the industry side to bring their products to market. So we kind of took the same ideology and said, you know what, we're going to go back to the industry and have a number of partners help us out. So Primary Weapons does the assembly of the AR-10, and then there's the uppers and lowers come from different sources, but there's manufacturers from across the industry who are coming together. So you're right. We don't even do final assembly on the guns, but I like to say we've kind of taken the collective knowledge of the industry to come out with this BRN-10 rifle. It's very exciting.
I'm looking at it on your website right now. It is a good-looking rifle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's modeled after the stylings of that original design. Mm-hmm. We were a little bit late, Tom. We announced it at SHOT Show. We announced it was going to be out, and we were hoping to have it out in spring. But what happened was a number of people, we leaked some photos out online, or people saw some photos out online, and they said, hey, you know what, that front sight tower isn't exactly right. And we knew that it wasn't exactly right, but you know what? Yeah. We had enough comments about it that we decided to kind of wait, pull it back in, and make sure that front sight tower was right, just because of the consumer demand. So that's what the delay was about.
Isn't it amazing how much the gun buying public knows when they'll say, well, that's not exactly right. It was actually this thing, and it was pinned this way, and it was actually installed this way. And you're going, how do you guys know all this stuff?
Yeah. The collective knowledge of the average gun consumer is certainly very high. And I think a lot of times if they're shopping at Brownells, it tends to be a little higher even, right. Because we also have a significant, gunsmithing business there. So, those guys certainly know their stuff and see it right away.
For those who don't know, let me just throw this out. Brownells has been around, since 1939. It's Brownells, located in the middle of Iowa, which is in the middle of the country. And really started like with gunsmithing parts, but now you've got everything from guns to magazines to ammo to reloading stuff to shooting accessories. Oh, yeah, we still have gunsmithing parts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Gunsmithing parts, tools, components, compounds, all that, still a huge part of the business. I put it this way, you can go into any gunsmith shop probably anywhere in the world and find a Brownells catalog and find some Oxbow Blue and a lot of those products that we're well known for.
The other thing I like about Brownells, when you call them, you actually talk to real people, which is a cool thing. It's kind of a nice touch these days.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a Frank Brownell mandate from way back. It's like, I don't want you to call and get a computer. I want you to talk to somebody who's right here in the U.S. and ready to chat with you about your issues.
There's something else. I mean, you guys do a lot of different things. I know I got another product I want to talk about, but I often tell people, look, if you just can't figure out what it is you need or how to make this thing work, call the guys at Brownells and ask to speak to one of the techs, because you've got a team of people back there that if they don't know it, it probably isn't knowable.
Right, yeah, that's kind of the interesting part about us, and nobody else is doing it, certainly in our space, is you can call and talk to a gun tech. And that gun tech is not going to be, somebody who's received a 3-week training course or something. You're going to talk to a guy that's been a gunsmith for at least 5 to 8 years. Some of those guys have been gunsmiths for 30 years. Last time I checked, there was like 300 or 400 years of experience in the gunsmithing world across all different disciplines based in those rooms.
Yeah, somebody there is going to know the answer. They may say, that's not made anymore, but we think that, so-and-so over there bought all the parts on that, and pretty sure you can get what you need over there and just send you to where you need to go, even if it's not at Brownells.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to do that. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that the customer has what they need. And there's plenty of times that, it might be something that's even a little bit beyond what we carry. But our guys do keep a pretty good base of knowledge with regard to who has things. So we're happy to send you to a competitor if they have it and we don't.
All right. So I got to ask you, I'm looking at this thing. You guys now have a grenade launcher?
Well, it's not an actual grenade launcher. It shoots flares and smoke bombs and bird bombs.
I know, but man, it looks like a grenade launcher you put on the bottom of your AR, and it will fire things, just not grenades.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a 37 millimeter, and it is by LMT. LMT makes it, which is of course the maker of the actual grenade launcher that amount to M4s for the military. They look exactly perfect. They look exactly right. The only difference is that bore diameter, but those have been popular as well.
So it's a 37 millimeter launcher. I'm looking at here. It'll shoot 37 millimeter flare, smoke, or rubber ball rounds. It's completely legal to own. No FFL required. So you can have that sent directly to you. It looks like the 40 millimeter grenade launcher, but obviously won't take the 40 millimeter grenades, which is okay.
Yeah,
it's just cool looking, man.
It is really, really cool. And it looks great on the retro guns, because obviously that launcher was, or the real version of the launcher was used clear back in Vietnam and is still used on M4s today. So we see a lot of people buying them for retro builds, just to have an historically correct retro build, and we see a lot of guys just wanting to have something like they carried overseas.
One of the things that's fun for me is to have watched the metamorphosis of Brownells from an outfit that sold parts and gunsmithing tools to now ammo, magazines, parts, and even firearms. You've got it all now. I mean, Brownells has just grown to be this monster, but you still have that Midwest personal touch.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's critical to us, Tom. I mean, it's been something where, we needed to stretch out. We needed to find a newer customer base and that sort of thing, and that's gone very, very well. But it's the same old people behind the counter and behind the door and answering the phones and, that sort of thing. Our average, and I don't know what the average employee here is, but I know that, we have people that retire with 40-plus years of service. People just don't generally leave the company after they start. And just a great culture here. It's a great Second Amendment supporting culture. It's a great group of people here.
And if you're driving through Iowa, you can stop in Grinnell, Iowa, and see your place, can't you?
Absolutely. 7 days a week. We've got a little retail store on the front of the shop. I like to tell people it's the only place in the world where you can buy a firearm and literally have Brownells warehouse behind it, and when you can customize it with any part, accessory, piece, equipment, ammunition you want.
You could put it together right there on the counter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you could say, hey, you know what? I want to switch these sights out. I want this kind of mag. I want different grips. I want, I want this optic, and it's going to be right at your. Within 15 minutes, you'll have it at the front.
Amazing stuff, Ryan. You guys are just really rocking it, man. I appreciate what you're doing. Anything else you want to tell people in the 30 seconds we got left?
Yeah, I would say check out the Labor Day sale. Just Brownells.com. You mentioned it earlier. We'll have a lot of great deals from your brands like Geisley, Rise Armament, Arrow, SIG, Polymer 80. Lots of great deals. So just check us out there at Brownells.com for the Labor Day sale.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I clicked on it. Sale and clearance. There it is right there. Ryan, thank you so much, and have yourself a great Labor Day weekend.
You too, Tom. Always good to be with you.
All right, take care. Yeah, Brownells. Talk about your good company. Good. You know what it is. It's good people, and they stand behind their stuff. And they'll help you out. I love that about them. All right, our number is 866-TALK-GUN. Do you take people out shooting? Have you introduced people to it? What kind of experiences have you had doing that? Love to get that range report. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
I heard the click, click, click of her stiletto heels coming down the hall. And I caught her perfume before she opened the door to my office. And she stood there looking like $1,000,000 tax-free. I want to talk to you, she said. Come back later, I said. I'm listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk right now.
Feels like the room ought to be full of cigarette smoke after that one. Hey, welcome back. Tom Gresham here. Imagine I'm getting alerts right now on my phone from my Blink camera up at the cabin, and something going on there. You could take a look. But you know what it's really about, the Blink camera system? It's really about, you get an alert and you check it out, and there's somebody creeping around your house when you're away. And maybe your wife, your daughter are in the house, and you can call the police, you can call them, you can alert them. It's about having a warning. Little bitty cameras run by AA batteries, last a couple of years. The batteries do. It's kind of crazy how long they last. It's a home security system that you don't have to pay a monthly fee for. It activates automatically motion detection. You get the alerts on your phone, and you can look at it real time, look at videos. It'll also tell you, it's kind of cool. It tells you the temperature, so you can get an alert if you were away. Say it's winter and it gets really cold, and you get an alert, say, hey, the heating went out. That's kind of a sweet thing. You call somebody and get the heat back on before the pipes burst. So that's really kind of how the whole Blink thing works. Now they're offering again, and I like this, an extra 15% off for Gun Talk listeners. You go to blinkprotect.com/Gun Talk, blinkprotect.com/Gun Talk. Now remember, Blink is an Amazon company. Last time for 15% off, blinkprotect.com/Gun Talk. All right, going to the phones. Brian's on line 1 out of Salt Lake City. Hey, Brian, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom, you'd asked about taking new people shooting, and one of my tips I got years ago from you is emphasize safety right off the bat.
Right.
And say, hey, if you ever want to go, I can teach you a nice, safe way of doing it. And they're like, oh, that always sounds great. So when I take people, one little tip is I've always asked the range if I can use a side room or a classroom to do some quick dry fire and talk about stance and safety and all the 4 rules, and particularly what to do if, like, they get burned by hot brass, things like that, before they have all their ear pro on, before we're out on the range.
Right.
And I think people end up being way better shooters. It only takes 5 or 10 minutes, but they end up doing so much better.
Well, a shooting range is noisy, and it's not a particularly good classroom environment, and so I applaud you for thinking that through. Let's go get to a place where we're not wearing the hearing protection, where we can talk about it. And if we're talking about things like, okay, if you ended up with hot brass that goes down your shirt, don't drop the gun, don't jump around, don't turn around. Just, shrug it off, work it out. It's not going to kill you. Just, but also, and I'm sure you're doing this, make sure, for people who aren't aware, please have people wear hats when they are shooting, because a hat with a bill on it projects out, and it can keep hot brass from coming down and falling between your shooting glasses and your eyelid. Yeah, I know it's rare, but it has happened, and that's a game changer for you right there. So what kind of reaction do you get when you take people out and they go to the range? And I know what you're doing is you're setting them up where you're putting them at ease, because now they understand this is going to be safe. So you take them out, they shoot a little bit. What happens?
Yeah, they're always very excited. Right by the end, they're loading their own magazines and they're racking their slide, and they're excited about their hits. And they're like, oh, that's fun. When are we going to go again?
Well, that's when you know you did it right. Whenever they say, when can we do it again, that's a win.
Yeah, and sometimes people are initially very anti, and I'll just throw it out and say, well, if you ever just want to go, I'll teach you a safe way. And sometimes it's a year later, but inevitably they'll say, did you mean that? Because I would like to go.
Huh. Well, I'll be darned. Well, good for you for throwing it out there and sticking with it. You throw it out, put bread on the water, and see what comes back to you. Brian, thank you for what you're doing. That is that's a real activist approach there. People don't know that's what it is, but you're doing something strong for the Second Amendment and for people's safety. Thank you, sir. Line 2, Chris is out of Fritz Creek, Alaska. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Tom, on the 6.5 millimeter rifle discussion.
Right.
I think maybe I have the best one.
Okay.
About 5 years ago, I had a custom rifle built. It's a Douglas barrel, match grade barrel. The twist is 1 in 7. It's on a Mauser action. It is a 6.5-06 Ackley improved. Ooh. And I've loaded, hundreds of rounds for it now, shot hundreds of rounds. I'm getting into long-range shooting. Mm-hmm. This is a phenomenally accurate rifle. The advantages are many. The disadvantages are very few. You can't buy brass for it. You have to reload ammo for it. You can't right. Can't buy ammunition for it.
But for those who don't know, it's easy to make brass for this. You just take 30-06, you neck it down to 6.5, you fire form it, and you're good to go, right?
Well, 30-06 brass doesn't size right down to 6.5 very well. What I do is I size it to 280 Remington and then one more step to 6.5-06.
Oh, okay. So you're stepping it down then.
Yeah. Okay. The necks do better, the dimensions stay better, and sometimes you end up folding up cases trying to resize from.
Okay, that makes sense. So you take it down to 284, and then you run it through another die down to 6.5. So you're working the brass a little bit less, and you get fewer failures out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then to fire form it, I throw in about 10 grains of blue dot. I dump some cream of wheat on top of that right up to the bottom of the neck, and I stuff a wad of toilet paper in there.
Yep.
Works just fine.
Exactly. I've done that a few times myself. It's kind of fun.
You can shoot it indoors that way, but it smells like somebody's burning something on the stove.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I don't recommend that. So, well, that's very cool. And that for those who don't know, the Ackley improved cartridge, there's a whole string of improved cartridges that were created by P.O. Ackley. If you ever get a chance to get his book, there's just a ton of ballistic information in those things.
Well, the big advantage there, now I've got some of this brass. I keep track of it. I'm into accurate shooting. And I've got some of this brass that has been reloaded, at least 10 times, and all I do is neck size it. The Ackley shoulder is the most wonderful thing ever invented.
That sharper shoulder, exactly right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is a great range report, Chris. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it very much. I'm going to run to a break. When we come back, we've got Kyle, I believe it is, ready. And then we have, a couple of lines available if you'd like to join us. As you can tell, we're kind of all over the place, talking about anything that has to do with guns, rifles, pistols, shotguns, self-defense, competition, hunting. It doesn't matter. If you want to talk about it, we'll do it. I'm Tom Gresham. Be right back with more Gun Talk.
Founded with the singular purpose of building fine sporting firearms, Kimber creates a handgun for every person and a rifle for every adventure. While embracing modern manufacturing techniques, every Kimber depends on practiced hands for assembly, fit, and finish. There's no compromise in features, materials, or performance. Synonymous with quality, precision, and excellence, and made in America. Kimber is what all guns should be. Visit KimberAmerica.com. That's KimberAmerica.com.
Laser sights enhance shooting fundamentals, sight alignment, and trigger control. Training with laser sights increases muzzle awareness, improves and corrects sight alignment and sight picture, and aids in acquiring and maintaining sight picture in low light conditions. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
It's America's favorite .22 rifle. No matter how, where, or what you like to shoot, there's a Ruger 1022 for you. From the carbine to the incredible takedown models, the tactical and target versions, all Ruger 1022 models have the legendary action and detachable 10-round rotary magazine. Whether you're hunting squirrels or tin cans, there's a lifetime of fun in every Ruger 1022 rifle. See them all at Ruger.com. That's Ruger.com.
Are back. Tom Gresham here. 866-TALK-GUN is the magic number. Do you really, honestly, if there's anything you want to talk about, let's see, 3D Guns Printed Safety Act of 2018. Yeah, a bill introduced, nothing but Democrats as co-sponsors, to ban 3D printing of guns, because I think that, well, this right now, anybody could make a gun, even a person who's prohibited. Yeah, that's true. It would be illegal. And after you pass this law, guess what? It will still be illegal. People break the law. Passing another law doesn't make them obey the law. It just means that honest people who can currently now make their own guns, which is perfectly legal, would not be able to. It will change nothing in terms of prohibited people making a gun, which almost never happens because it takes a lot of work. It's just more the same. Just more the same. Let's see. Kyle is with us out of Iowa on line 3. Hey, Kyle, talk to me.
Hey, sir. So I'll get straight to the question. I work for XYZ Inc. Let's just call them that.
Sure.
And I work 11 hours a day. I drive an hour to work, an hour from work. So it's a total of 13 hours. Well, as you can imagine, I spend most of my time throughout the week working. So when I carry my firearm, XYZ Inc. does not allow any firearms on their property. That's perfectly fine. I have no problem obeying the law. Okay. Well, my problem is I give a guy a ride home from work that lives in a very sketchy neighborhood. And I'm kind of not sure what to do. You know, I want to protect myself, and I want to give this guy a ride home from work. And I have no problem with that. But also, I don't want to put myself in a situation to where I have to use my firearm. I don't ever want to do that, but I will if I need to. Just kind of want to get your advice on it.
Sure. Let me ask you, can you leave a gun in your car when you're at work?
Unfortunately, no. They do not allow that.
And Iowa doesn't. Some states have passed laws that say they can't prohibit you from keeping a gun in your car. You can't have it on you.
I'll have to look into.
I think you would check on that and see if Iowa doesn't have that law, because a number of states have passed that, and people have basically gone to their companies and said, "Hey, you can't, prohibit me from having a gun in my car on company property." Okay. Check on that. That being the case, your choices are to violate company policy and keep it locked up in the trunk of your car, understanding that you could get caught because they sometimes will actually use gun-sniffing dogs, believe it or not, and walk them through the parking lot, and they will alert on a car if it's got a gun in it. Wow. Oh, yeah, I know. You're thinking, they'll never know. Yeah, well, they might. So you got to figure out, is it worth losing my job over, which is no small thing, or I'm just not sure what a good option would be. The other part, is it possible, inconvenient, I get it, is it possible to park off of company property?
I mean, I could, but it's obviously one of those things where, it's easier to park on company property rather than down the street. But that is a good, solid point. I could probably work that out with somebody.
Yeah, if you could park off of company property, you could lock the gun in the car, and I would put it in a safe, some kind of a vault or something that's bolted to the car, because people break into cars and steal guns all the time. So a console is not good enough. It's got to be in a locked case, bolted to the trunk of the car or something. And that way, when you get over to your car, you can get your gun out. If you have a carry permit, you could carry it, or you could just keep it handy so that you could have it available, stick it in the console. It's going to require some extra work and some inconvenience on your part. But the first thing to do is to check to see if Iowa has a law that prohibits companies from blocking you from having a gun in your car.
Okay. Well, I will definitely be checking on that. Thank you very much for your time.
You bet. Thank you. I hope that works out for you. Hold on a second here. Had to have a drink of water. Sorry about that. I'm going to talk all the time here. If your company prohibits you from having a gun in the car, your company also prohibits you from having self-protection, a means of self-protection as you're going to and from work. Maybe not illegal, but certainly immoral. At least in my view. I don't know about yours. Trying to find a way around that, it's going to require some extra work on your part. Maybe you park off, the property. Maybe you go talk to the company and say, hey, can we look at this policy and maybe alter it? Depending on the size of the company, may be able to get something going there. If it's a big corporation, it might not work for you, but it's something to consider. Of course, the other possibility is to talk to your state legislature and see if you can't get a law passed there that prevents them from protecting yourself. was an interesting call with Kyle. He was asking what he can do because his employer prohibits them from having guns at work, but also prohibits them from having a gun in a car at work, which I've always found to be odd why they would do that. A number of states have passed laws that say companies cannot have a policy like that. You can't tell people you can't have a gun in the car. You can say, okay, you can't bring it into work, but you have to be able to keep it in the car because otherwise you are unprotected as you go to and from work. And that was Kyle's point. If that's not the law in your state, you may be able to get that passed. Talk to a friendly legislator or senator and see if you can get the ball rolling on that. It's kind of an interesting proposition. Line 3, Bruce is with us out of Medford, Oregon. Hey, Bruce, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, good afternoon. How are we doing?
Yes. Hey, great. What you looking for here?
Well, the gentleman that was on there earlier today that was talking about the 6.5 Creedmoors shooting long range for big game.
Right.
Just kind of wondering what the realistic distances are for some of the animals we have here on the West Coast. I mean, black-tailed deer, black bear, elk, you know.
Well, I would say probably inside of 500 yards would be fine.
For large game?
Well, what do you consider large game?
An elk.
Yeah, I'd shoot an elk at 400 yards with a 6.5, piece of cake.
Okay, that's just kind of.
I would shoot it at 400 yards with a 25-06.
Okay, the 6.5. You've cost me money on that one. Talking to that so well, I had to go buy one.
Now you got to go spend some money and buy a gun. Well, okay, here's the thing, and we do not, and this is a real confusing point for a lot of people. You do not kill critters and people say, I want to transfer all the energy to them. No, that's not what we do. That's not how it works. If it worked that way, you could bump into somebody at 1 mile an hour with a car and just keep bumping into them with a car and transfer all that energy, but you're not going to kill anything. The way that we kill animals with a bullet is to disrupt tissue. That's it. And so you want something that will penetrate, get to the vitals. You want something you can shoot and hit them in the right place. And if it's me, I want the bullet to go all the way through. I want that bullet to go out the other side because I want damage as far through it as I can get it. I don't want to stop making damage halfway through.
There you go. Yeah.
So a good 6.5, and it could be a 6.5 Creedmoor, a 6x55, a 6.5x55. It doesn't have to be powerful. You just have to be able to hit with it and use good bullets. And if you're using good bullets, you're going to get the penetration and you're going to get the tissue destruction that you need, and you're going to get your elk. But certainly 6.5 would be a perfectly adequate out to 400 yards and beyond on elk. No worries at all.
Okay, like he was talking earlier, it was like, gave up my .338 Win Mag because it just finally got tired of getting beat up. So
I know. And I've got a .338 that I love dearly and haven't shot it in probably 10 years for that same reason. It's kind of like, why do I want to do this when I can go shoot him with my 7mm08, which is basically a 7x57 Mauser, if you will.
Yeah, that was a tough decision between the 7mm08 and the 6.5 Creedmoor. So,
well, you know what the correct answer is? Get both.
Well, that's the other thing you cost me on, talking about revolvers. I had to go buy 2 revolvers.
Hey, we got to help each other out. I'll tell you can buy it, and then you turn around and tell me I can buy what I want, and then everybody wins. Hey, I appreciate the call, Bruce. Thank you so much. It's, the 6.5s and the medium calibers, the 708s, 308s, 25-06s, even down to 243s. Perfectly adequate for pretty much anything out there. All right, I'm going to ask you to do something for me. You heard some reports today from people who take people to the range, invite them out. Sometimes it takes a year or more for them to say yes. Throw it out there. Say, hey, if you ever want to go shooting, we'll go someplace that's safe, and we'll do some training, and you'll be able to shoot a few things and see if you like it, and then let it go. You don't have to push it. You can be an ambassador. Once you take them to the range, you have vaccinated them forever. Thank you for doing that. See you next time.